The Tanakama of the Braisa that holds that the Isurim achal even by behema v'kelim. So if all the Isurim achal by behema v'kelim, what does he do with the extra word ki anihu? Says the Gemara, he needs it lahagdim ani v'asher, to tell you that if you have a choice of paying the wages to ani or to asher, you pay the ani first. Rabbi Yehuda, who excludes from the word ani already that behema and kelim are not included in the Yisurim, so how does he know that you have to be magdim ani before the asher? Says the Gemara, and for the Gemara, he learns out. From where do we know that you have to pay the ani's wages before? Because it says you shouldn't oppress the wages of ani b'avyan. In fact, the Gemara, the Tanakama, what does he need the pasuk ki anihu? He has a pasuk from Leisashik that you have to give the ani first. And the Gemara, chad lahagdim ani la'ashit. The word ki anihu is telling you if you have a choice between an ani and asher, you have to give the ani first. The chad and the second pasuk of Leisashik sacha ani b'avyin lahagdim ani lahevyin, to tell you that if you have a choice of paying the wages of an ani or a evyin is noch me or me is even more poor. Says the Gemara, evyin who's more poor, you have to give the ani first, even though the evyin is more poor. Why? Utzicha, says Gemara. And why do we need these two psukim? Because the Yashmiyan evyin, if you would only teach me ani, if ani is not as poor as an evyin,
ani is richer than the evyin,
it has more than an evyin. So it says the Gemara, if I would only learn the pasuk of ani, this last pasuk of loy sashrik sacha ani be'evyin, I would have said that only ani. I would have thought first again. If the pasuk would only say that ani comes before evyin, that's because mishum delay kasalim nalitve, because an evyin doesn't have the embarrassment to demand money for his needs. Somebody who's very poor. But ani will keep quiet. So in order that he shouldn't lose for being quiet and being embarrassed, so therefore, because he's going to, ani is embarrassed to ask for the money, we give the ani first, because he'll be left with nothing.
Evyin is not embarrassed.
No, Evyin is not embarrassed. Now, what about an usher? When you have a choice of an usher and an ani, usher is even more embarrassed than an ani, right? So I'll say, between an ani and an usher, give the usher first, because the usher will never ask. He's even more embarrassed than an ani is.
If they owe money.
Yeah, if they owe money, he'll never ask for it. He's more embarrassed. The Yashmin and usher.
That's who's the usher.
The Yashmin and usher. And if you're going to tell me about an usher, I'll say Mishum the late Tzarech. If I would only tell you about an usher, I would have said usher doesn't need it. He doesn't need it. So like the ani, but I'll tell you. But what about evyin, the tzarech, that he needs it? He needs it even more than the ani. I would say the evyin comes before the ani. That's why I needed pasuk leisashik ani be'evyin to tell you that the ani comes before the evyin. That's why I needed both psukim. Now the Gemara goes to our Mishnah. But on our Tana of our Mishnah that says that the wages of a ger teshav ya'over on all the dinim that says by schir laila, but not, that's in Pashas Kiseitze, but not on the schir yoim, which is in Pashas Kedoshim, on like schar behema v'kelim. But when it comes to schar behema v'kelim, ya'over sai on schir yoim, on the yisurim of schir yoim, and sai on the yisurim of schir laila. In fact, you want a man of shach. If we made a Gzeira Shava Sacha from Kedoshim to the Sacha from Kiseitze, that includes everything. So I feel Ger Teshanami should be included in all these Surim. If you're not learning the Gzeira Shava Sacha, Behema v'Kelim Anale. So how do we know that Behema v'Kelim are also included in all these Surim of Schir Yom that's mentioned by Kedoshim without the Gzeira Shava? Says Gemara Leilam Lo Yalav Sacha Sacha. In Amisim we don't learn out the Gzeira Shava. How do we know that by Behema Kelim that's included in the Isurim from Zchir Yoim, Shiny Hasam, which is in Pasha Kedeshim? There, in Pasha Kedeshim, the Amakra, it says in the Pasha of Zchir Yoim, Lo Yisolem Pulasachi Itcha Ad Beika. You shouldn't let the wages of your worker stay with you till the morning. So it says Itcha, Kol Shapulascha Itcha. The Lashon Itcha means any work of this person, including the Behema Kelim, are included in all these surim. It says Befeidish Itcha. It doesn't mean just a person. It means even a person's Kelim, a person's Behema, anything that belongs to your friend, and you used it that belongs to a person is even all these surim if you don't pay him on time. If so, I feel a Geri Teshav Nami. Let a Geri Teshav, which belongs to another person, or Geri Teshav, be included also in it, because it's also Itcha. He's working with you. Includes not just Behema Kelim, Al Geri Teshav too. And the Gemara Amar Kra, it says in the pasuk Lo Yisashek Es Reyacha. It says you shouldn't oppress your friend, which is a Yisol Gomor. Reyacha v'loy Geri Teshav. Reyacha means a Yisol Gomor. You're over the Yisrael Lo Yisolen. Aber nicht a Geri Teshav. A Geri Teshav is nicht kein Yid. Fragt die Gemara Yachi. Afilu Behema Kelim Nami. Fragt die Gemara, if so, Kelim Nami. Behema Kelim is also not Reyach. It's not your friend. It's a Behema. It's a Kelim. And the Gemara Ksiv Itcha, but it says Itcha with you means even the Kelim and Behema of another person that's with you. In fact, Gemara Mara Yisrael Rabis Behema Kelim Lo Hitzi Gei Teshav. I know there's a miyut. What's the miyut? The word that's memayit is Reyacha. What's the ribui? Itcha. So there has to be a miyut and a ribui. So we're saying that the miyut is the Ger Teshav, and Itcha, the Ribu, is telling you that Behema Kelim is included in the Yisr. In fact, maybe we should reverse it. Maybe Itcha goes on Ger Teshav, and Riyach is excluding Behema Kelim. It says, Behema Kelim have a Leila Rabbis. It makes sense to include Behema Kelim, because that doesn't contradict Reyacha. It could be the Behema Kelim of Reyacha, of the Yisrael Gomor. Shekin Yeshna Bechal Mamin Reyacha, because they're included in the mammon of your friend. But Ger Teshav ain't Bechal Mamin Reyacha. Ger Teshav, there's no tzad that you can find that he should be included in Reyacha. Reyacha meant that Yisrael Gomor. A Ger Teshav is Nishken Yid. There's no way you can find that it should be Reyacha. Is a Yid. But Behema Kelim haben gefunden that should be included in Reyacha, because this is the mammon fun Reyacha. It belongs to the Reyacha, the Behema, the tools that you're renting. According to the Tanakama, that dashens me'achacha, and he learns that everything is over Behema Kelim, Ger Teshav, and all these surim, Sais Cher Yom, Sais Cher Laila. Hi Reyach, Ma'yavdele. What do they do with this miyut of Reyach? What do they do with it? And you want to help me look at the Tanya. We need it like we learned in the Braisa. Reyach v'lo Yamaleki. Reyach means Nishken Amalek, Nishken Goy. In fact, you want Amaleki? Ma'achecha Nafka. We already said Ma'achecha, your brother, but not a Nishken Goy. So what do I need again, Reyacha? And for the Gemara, Chad, we need two limudim. Chad lemisha ishkei. One is to be matir, that if you hold the wages of a goy, you're not going to be over on the Isra Leisalim. The Chad lemisha gezele. And one to be matir, if you stole from him, you're not over on Leisigzel. And I need both psukim. If you're going to have one pasuk for gezele, I would say, gezele mishum delay tarach bay. By Gzela, he didn't. The guy didn't work. The guy didn't work for it. He got it for free, right? Because how did he get it for free? Either he got it by Yerusha or he got it by Matana. It could happen that he got it for free. But somebody who's holding back the wages, the Torah, where we'll say the Torah Gabay, that he put him work. The guy took Yarbin for them. So I would say, no, you cannot oppress the guy if he worked for you. By the Gzela, he didn't work for you. Again, and if you'd only learn a pasuk for Oishik, that you're not over on the Isa of Oishik, I'll say only by Oishik you're not over Mishum Delay Asli Yadeh. The guy never got the money in his hand. So he never took anything out of his hand. Aval Gizela, Idasli Yode, but by Gizela, the guy already had it in his hand and you took it out. I would say no, you're over in Gizela. Tzicha, you have to give it back. Yeah, Tzicha, that's why I need both psukim. But Rabbi Yosef, Rabbi Yehuda, the Gemara asked on the sheet of Rabbi Yosef, Rabbi Yehuda, that says, Behemah V'kelim, there's no Isa of Lois Solin. Hi, Lois Solin, Piyulah Sache, Itcha, Adbeika. What does he do with the word Itcha? You remember we made a ribu to be Marba, Behemah V'kelim, but he doesn't learn Itcha. So that ribu, because he says Behemah V'kelim are not, are included. I'm sorry. Rabbi Yosef Rabbi Yehuda that says there's no Iser. There's no Iser. So Itcha is not including for Rabbi Yosef Rabbi Yehuda because it says Itcha is extra. So what does he do with the Itcha? Because he's not learning it to include the He learns Faket. There's no Iser of Loisalin. What does he do? After going to Abasi, he needs it like Abasi. The other Abasi said, I feel like even if this person wasn't hired, only to harvest one cluster of grapes. So normally the work is, Taisa says, he's not considered as a worker. So maybe there's no Iser of Loisalin, of that if he doesn't pay him on time, I'll say he's not a real worker. I'll pay it tomorrow that he could because it's not a real worker. Nevertheless, he says no, he's considered as a regular worker even though he hired him for 5 minutes. Even Mishum, he's even on the Isa Baltolin. The Tan of our Mishnah that learns Itcha to include Schab Kelim. So the Itcha was used for that already. So how does he know even if somebody works such a little time that he's considered as a regular worker? So he says, from it says to him, he gave over his he was the pasuk is telling you, the person who's mechayiv to pay the schar sachir for even for this little work, he was mishabed himself to pay him because of this person. Nafke, that's where he learns. He learns it out from that pasuk. How any schar that the worker is mishabed himself in order to receive money, even though he did it in such a small, he was only hired for a little time, nevertheless, he's in the gather of the Isa of Loi Solid. In fact, what about Rabbi Yosef Rabbi Yehuda that learns the din of Rav Asi from Itcha? So what is he? We have Elav, we have the pasuk of Elav who noises nafshi. What does he do? He needs the pasuk of Elav who noises nafshi. He says because why did the worker go on this high ramp or hang from a tree to cut off peiros? And he put himself in sakons nefashis. And there was a shilas that people said, Moshe Feinstein, if you can go into a work where there's sakons nefashis. Even in the boxing thing, so it's mamash sakana. So if for schar, if you're doing for sure, you get punched in the head, or even football, you get knocked around. So he paskins that it's unusual because it has all the requirements that they don't let you go too far. And you're doing it for work, so then it's mutter. Like here, he said he quoted this Gemara. So people put themselves in sakana. They go on these high poles, electric poles, and everything. So Gemara loyal schare. So besides Gemara loyal schare.
Every business is like
yeah,
he loses the money.
Yeah. In fact, Gemara he loyal says al schare. Didn't he do this for work? For sure, the person has to pay him. So obviously. The guy put himself in sakana to get a wage, so it's a regular worker. What you're not going to pay him? You're not going to be over on the loisalon. Another shot is available. What is that coming to teach you? Whoever holds back the schar of a worker, kilo noitel is nafshe mimenu.
Wow!
It's like he's taking zayin leben. So whose leben? Is fana machlekes. The Goslin's leben vet sugenomen, or this is the nigzel. Is it the Goslin's life that's being taken away, or it's the nigzel? One says it's going on the soul of the Goslin gets taken away from him. The pasuk is warning the balabayis, if you hold back the schar, the wage of your worker, you're putting yourself in sakana, because there'll be a punishment of misa. It means that you're taking away the pasuk is telling you somebody holds back the schar, the wages of his worker. It's as if he killed it. According to Mandiyam, that says it's the soul of the Gazlan. Do not steal from the poor, kidalu, because he's very poor, and there's nobody to help him. So don't steal from him. And kvetchnish, don't squash honey in the gate.
If he owes you money.
No, don't squash him not paying him. You have to pay him. Uksiv, like it says, if you do these things, you'll steal from Nadal and he doesn't have help, or you'll kvetch honey. Zok the Eibishter kashem yorvrivam. The Eibishter will fight his battle for the honey for not paying him on time. But kibbles kriveim nafesh, and the Eibishter will take away his soul, meaning the gazlan, his nefesh will be taken away. According to the one that says it goes on the nigzel, where do we see that in the pasuk? It says in the pasuk, "Kain achos saw the ways of kol beitzei batza." As it says of those gazlanim, beitzei batza, of those that steal, who steal goizel gzeles, he calls it. Those that steal, es nefesh be'olav yikach. He's taking the soul of the one that owns the money that was stolen from him. That means the nigzel is getting killed. In fact, so now the other Amida that says it's going on the Gazlan because it says Ki Hashem Yorev Rivam, and then it says Vakoves Kaiveim Nafesh. So there it's going on the Gazlan. So Haksibes Nafesh Ve'olav Yikach. But then you have an opposite pasuk that it says the Nafesh of the one that owned the money, he's getting killed. For the Gemara, no, Be'ol of the Hashta. He means who's the owner of the money now? The Gazlan, the one that stole the money now. In fact, the Gemara Vidach Nami. The one that says it's going on the Gazlan, you have a pasuk that says the one that says it's going on the Nigzel, huh?
The Baal.
On the owner, right? No, I'm sorry. It's going on the Nigzel, the other Amida that says the Kavanah of the pasuk is going on the one who was stolen from.
Yeah.
It says in the pasuk it's going on the Gazlan. Matam, he's saying is it matam koma? Matam, the end of the pasuk goes like this. What's the reason that David takes away? Matam koves kevayim. What's the reason that David is taking away the Gazlan's nefesh? Mishum the notlo nefesh, because he took away the nefesh from the nigzel. It's kilo rotzcho. It's as if you had notles nefesh shala nigzel. And that's why David takes away his soul. When a yoiva for holding wages, man shetavoy. Only when you demand it. But if you don't demand it, then you're not going to be over unless sold.
So the Rebbe tomorrow.
If he doesn't say, I want my money now, then he's not over the Baal Habayis, is not over unless sold. The Rebbe said in the Sikha, yesterday I brought down, it says that the Eibishter gives back. The Eibishter does what we do. We hire a worker. We have to pay him the wages the same day. I mean, the day you have to right away. We have to pay him. So when we do mitzvahs, the Eibishter should be paying us right away. So why does the Gemara in Kiddushin say that scham mitzvah b'hayam alesa? In the Gemara Kiddushin later, it says in Gemara Kiddushin. So the Chanuk Satera is Rebbe Hershel, who is the Rebbe of the Shachem Taz. He writes over there because we learned yesterday, if you hire somebody to hire a worker, you tell a shliach, go hire me a worker, then you're not able to sell it. So David gave us the Torah to a shliach, to Moshe Rabbeinu. So the Rebbe continues over here, our Rebbe says, that kommt es jetzt unser Schach, mit schon habe ich getan alles, was man kann, getan Mitzvahs, wo ist Mashiach? So the Rebbe says, warum ist nicht Teveya? Man muss Teveya sein. Das ist damit darf man Schein ad Mosai, and that's the Indian. Ad Mosai. Okay, tell me about it. Yeah.
It's not loud enough.
Right. It says in the Torah that you shouldn't allow the wages go overnight. I would have thought, even if he doesn't demand for the wage, the Amalek comes to the pasuk and tells you, Itcha ledaitcha. It means Itcha, he has to notify ledaitcha of the owner who hired him. He has to know that he's being demanded of to pay the wage. I would have thought, even if he doesn't have the money to pay him, So he's still over on leisalin. Tamad leima itcha kisheyesh itcha. Only if you have the money, then you're over leisalin. If you don't have the money, you're not. Yachol, I would have thought, says the Gemara, afilu imcho eitzach having the eitzach shulchani. I would have thought, even though he gave instructions for the storekeeper, paid my worker, or he gave instructions for the money changer to give the money. So I would have thought the balabai, if they don't pay on time, he's able to selling. Itcha has come to tell you only if you have the responsibility to pay him. But if the responsibility of the payment, he gave it over to the Chamini, and the storekeeper agreed that he's going to pay his worker, then he's not able to sell him. We learned if he gave instructions to the storekeeper or to the money changer to pay, we said he's not going to be over. The balabai is not able to sell him. Meaning, if the Chemini says, I don't want to pay him, finish, I retract, I gave him the tzol, I'm not paying. So could he go back to the balabais or not? Because maybe he was masking, the worker was masking that the balabais is out of the picture. So Rav Sheshes says he cannot go back to the balabais because the balabais is out of the picture. Because he was masking, the worker was masking. But Abba Amma, it doesn't say he was mefedish masking. If he was mefedish masking, there's no shiloh. We're talking about, he said stomach. He agrees. He didn't say if it was with a condition only if he pays him or not. But Abba says he can go back to the balabais. From where do I learn out that the sachir can go back to the balabais if the storekeeper doesn't want to pay him? It says in the balabais is just not over on leisalin. He's on the aveda. He's not going to be over. But he can go back to the balabais and demand his money. He could tell him, listen, you gave instructions to the Chamini, he doesn't want to pay me.
You pay me now.
You pay me now. But if Sheish Sama, no, my ain't over. He's not bechalin together of being over Aveda because he's out of the picture. The Chamini agreed that, the Sachir agreed to take it from the Chamini, and that's it. He said the Balabais. But the Balabais is out of the picture. He agreed to it. Somebody holds the wages of the kablonos. Kablonos is somebody, you give him raw material and he makes a baguette. You give him wood, benkel. He makes a table or a chair. So what is that? He's not like a real worker. Maybe he's considered as a moich, as a seller, because once he makes it into a table, the worker, it becomes his. The table is his because he only gave him wood, materials. He made from the material a baguette. He made from the wood a table. So now when he comes for money, it's like he's selling him. So it's like he's selling him back the table for more money. So now for sale, that's not a worker. So there's no Indian of loy solid.
You don't have to pay him right away.
He doesn't have to pay him right away. He can put it on credit. So he says, maybe the uman, the craftsman, is kind of the enhancement of the keli. He made it into a keli, and therefore he's like a moicha selling it back. Or maybe a craftsman did not acquire the enhancement of the kli, the table. It doesn't become his table, and he's a moicha. He's still a worker. And it's regular schidus, and he's over on leisalim. He has to pay right away. He's over because this that he enhanced it and made it into a keli, but he hired him to do it, so he's a worker, a regular worker, and if he doesn't pay him on time, he's able to sell it. In fact, you might have Tanya, but we learned about Fedish Baraisa by Kablonas, he's not over. Says, you might have Hasim over there, there, the reason why he wasn't over, because there, the Balabais was out of the picture. He transferred the responsibilities of the payments to the storekeeper or to the money changer. Says the Gemara, Neima, Saul has it, the place, you have the place, Neima Messiah, it's at the end of the Amid. In fact, the Gemara, Neima Messiah, let us say we're...
I'm just looking for the pictures.
Okay. In fact, the Gemara, Neima Messiah, let us say, let me just tell you in general, there's a din of a sacha, a worker. There's a din that you hire a worker, you have to pay his wages, let's say work by day, You got to get paid by night. You can't wait till the morning and after the morning. He has the whole night to get paid. Or he has the night to pay. So the Gemara wants to know what's the din by a kablan. A kablan is, maybe he's not considered as a regular worker. What is a kablan? You give him material.
Piece of wood.
And either wood and he makes it into a table or chair. Or you give him a cloth or wool and he makes it into a baguette. Is he considered as a seller? Because once he enhanced it and made it into a new thing, so he's like selling it. So he's not a worker, he's selling it back to the owner. The owner just paid for the material, but he made it into a keli. So therefore, he's not a worker, he's a seller, or not. So Rav Sheshes says he's considered as a worker. The guy gave him material, hired him to make it into a keli. So the Gemara says, name Messiah, let's bring a raya to Rav Sheshes from this paraisa. It says, Anoisam Tales Luma. Somebody who gives his a talis, material, right? And Gemara, and the Uman finished the malach and he made it into a talis. V'hidiya, and he let the owner know that he finished the talis. So from here, from when he finished till 10 days, he's not over on loisolen. But if the Uman comes, he says, here's your talis. Till now, he was holding the talis, so it's not considered holding his wages, because he has the talis, which is worth money owner. He didn't give it to him. So it's not like he's holding his wages, because he has the talis against it. But the minute he gives him the talis, b'chatzi yoim, in the middle of the day, he has to pay him before the sun goes down. So you see, he's a kablan, he took material, made it into a baguette. Nevertheless, we said he's over mishum baltolin. He's not considered as a moicha, that the baguette became his and he's selling it back. Well, no, he's considered as a worker. If you're going to say the uman is kind in the enhancement of the keli, why is the balabas? He's a moicha, he's not a worker. So Zaraya, he's considered as a worker. It's nishkenaya. It says begada the sabala. It's talking about that it had long hair. All he's doing is brushing it and he's making it smooth. Says the Gemara, if that's what it is, why did he have to give it to a craftsman to brush the wool? Says the Gemara, it's not so simple. You had to give it to a craftsman to soften it. They have to put it in certain chemicals. It's hard. And they put it in water and it becomes soft, and then it's more. There's a lot of work in it. So that's an enhancement. So it's considered as a keli, and therefore maybe he should be considered as a meicha. But nevertheless, we said no. He's a baltolan if he doesn't pay on time. Says the Gemara Leitzicha. Maybe over there it's talking about a different case. The Ka'agimina, he hired this guy only levatushe to just stamp on it to make it straight, and it should be it shouldn't be all crumbled up. So bachu b'masa, for every bang that he treads on it, he gets a ma. So he's not a real worker. So he's not he's not a craftsman. He's a regular worker. So that's why there's the Isa Loisolon. You don't have a raya if he made as a craftsman. If he made it into a keli, he'll have a did like a worker. Yes. The cleaners, no, it's it is. Even though they're enhancing it, they're kablonim. Loisalan, yeah, you have loisalan. But if he's holding on to it, the baguette, it's not loisalan because the baguette replaces the money of the wage.
Isn't every case of a worker and
right? So, but it's not considered holding wage unless he gave it to him. Once the cleaners gives you the clothing,
but they're not considered workers to him. They're not considered workers. They're not his workers. They're their own workers.
They're kablonim, you're right. But nevertheless, the moment he gives it to them,
He gives it to them, no problem. If they keep it, and then they don't.
But they're considered as workers. We consider them as workers. That's the halacha according to Rav Sheshes. We learned that if it was in the time, then he could swear. But so he has a certain amount of time that he can demand, and if the guy doesn't give him the money, the sacher can now make a shvua and collect his money. Say, I never got paid, and the owner has to pay him the money. He can swear, I never got paid, and the owner has to pay him. That's only if it's bismane. But if his time of let's say the night he was supposed to get paid, he didn't demand the money at night, then he cannot swear and collect. Sagt die, no, nishba, he swears, and Bezdin takes it away from him, takes it from here and gives it to the Sacher. Sagt die, we learned tremendous halachas here. You know, what is this tremendous halachas? You want to say it's halach l'meish b'sinai? It's not. We know these are takonis that you said that he has only in the time to the demand in the time that he's supposed to get paid. That's a takona. Really, we have to change the lashon. It's not halachas gedolos, it's takonis gedolos. Says gedolos. You're saying big. It implies that they are small. What do you mean small takonis? We learn starke takonis because min hadin, who's this shvur supposed to go on? The balabayas. The one who wants to pater himself from paying is the one that always swears, not the one that collects. And here it works the opposite. We're being oikif from the norm. We're allowing the one who wants to collect to make the shvur to collect. Shvur zu the balabayasi. This shvur really is from the balabayas. Here the tremendous takana is that they took the shvur that the balabayas would normally be the one to make the shvur to pat himself, and we gave the sacher the rights to swear to collect. This is because it's for the livelihood of the sacher. It depends on it. Because the wage of the sachir is his life depends on it, so the balabayis should lose. Balabayis is more than happy that the workers should swear and collect, in order that the workers should want to go work for somebody. Because if they can never make a shvur to collect, they'll say, "Well, I'm going to go work, and then he'll rob me." So, in order to give them a loophole to be able to collect, we allow them to swear. The sach himself is more than happy that the balabaya should be the one to swear. So the balabatim should hire workers. So if we don't allow the balabayas to make a shvur to pater themselves, they won't hire workers. I think what a balabayas al korchayaga. Balabayas are forced to hire workers. They need workers. Sache nami ba'korchitka. Like the workers need to get hired to live. A balabayas tarbe paylim. We're the same like we said before. The balabayas is like he doesn't know. Even though he claims he paid this worker, we're saying he has so many workers, and he might say he paid this worker, really he paid another worker. So that's why we don't allow him to swear. He might be swearing falsely. He's not clear. He's konskei. He doesn't really know. If he doesn't really know, let the sacher collect without the shvur. What's that for shvur? Because the balabayas shite, I paid you. In order to calm down, I'll swear and I'll collect. I won't stamp, take the money, I'll make a shvur. Let's make a takana that whenever he gives the schar, it should be in front of Adam. Says in front of Adam. Tichlu milsa, yed the mol. When the sach has to get paid, we're going to go looking for Adam. Every day he has to pay. He's going to go looking for Adam. Let him give him the money before he starts doing the work. Says both of them want at the end. The worker doesn't want it during the work because he'll lose his money, and the balabayas would rather pay him at the end of the work. In fact, if so, when they made up a salary, how much he should get. Why do we learn? The worker says, we made up two denarim for an hour, let's say, or for the day. Allah and the balatala say, the owner says, only one. So you're saying over there, the halacha is that the worker only gets one, like the balabayas says, and not like the worker says. The balabayas is mixed up, he doesn't know. You say he has so many workers, he's not clear in the head. And you want to know he's clear in the head. When somebody makes up a price with another one of his workers, he definitely remembers. He says, if the zman passed of the 30 seconds. Of his man Nami. Why, when the Zman passes, you say the worker can no more swear? Why not? The Balabais doesn't know what's going on. It's a chazaka, the Balabais, when it comes to paying on time, the last minute, before the time, he doesn't remember. After the time, he doesn't remember. At the time, he knows that he can't be over the Zman. So he won't be over.
He wouldn't forget.
He won't forget. Okay, we'll stop over here.